Moscow now has about 2 million Muslims, more than any other city in Europe. So when the faithful gathered Tuesday for the start of the Eid al-Adha holiday, tens of thousands of men unrolled their prayer mats on the gray asphalt of Moscow's streets. Last year, they prayed outside in rain and snow. A new, expanded Moscow Cathedral Mosque is under construction, but it is only one of 4 mosques in all of Moscow. Abdul Bari Sultanov is a Russian Muslim from Tatarstan, a historically Muslim region.
Certainly mosques are needed. Mosques are needed in each micro-district, as well as madrasas, schools, imams, so that people would be morally prepared for meeting their God.
While the Russian Orthodox Church is building 200 new churches around Moscow, new mosque projects never win building permits. Russian Muslim activist Gaidar Jamal charges that the Kremlin blocks new mosques in Russia's capital.
They understand the politics of suppression, direct suppression, and they don't understand that this will create the problems for themselves much worse than those they are trying to solve now.
Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin vows that no new mosques will be built in Moscow. He says Muslims praying in the streets on holidays are largely Central Asians, guest workers who eventually will go home. Speaking recently to Echo Moskvy Radio, he said, "There are only 10% of Moscow residents among them, and building mosques for everyone who wants it, I think this will be over the top." Sobyanin, a Kremlin ally, won last month's mayoral elections. He seems to know what voters are thinking. On Sunday, Slavic residents in a working-class Moscow neighborhood rioted against Central Asians and Caucasians. Here they chant, "Russia forward, Russia forward." The spark was the stabbing death last week of a young Slavic Russian man, apparently by an immigrant from Azerbaijan. Analysts called the anti-immigrant riot a modern-day pogrom. Police detained 2,000 migrant workers. Politicians called for banning apartment sales to foreigners and for imposing visa restrictions on migrants from the southern Muslim nations that only a generation ago were part of the Soviet Union. Izola Kukushina moved to Moscow from Ukraine after the collapse of the Soviet Union.
It will be Muslim, I am afraid. Believe me, I like them, but Moscow must be Slavic. It should be somehow balanced. But this influx of immigrants influences our life in a bad way.
On Tuesday, she looked at the rivers of Muslim faithful that flowed past her Orthodox church and wondered about Moscow's future. For now, Moscow's future seems to play out on the streets, between prayers and pogroms. James Brook, VOA News, Moscow.
Жертвоприношение является еще и тем, что мы в форме